Thank you once again for watching my video. My name is Mr. Charles Manike. In this video tutorial, we will discuss on aluminum electrolytic capacitor. That is where we are now. We are still on capacitor, and we have treated other previous video. We treated about unit of capacitor and working voltage of a capacitor. So in today's topic, we are to discuss on aluminum electrolytic capacitor. Please, if you like my video, subscribe to my channel, comment and like. Thank you once again. So let's start from aluminum capacitor. Aluminum capacitor, aluminum electrolytic capacitors are used in huge quantities. What I mean by aluminum capacitor are used in huge quantities are they can use in various areas. They can be used as in power sensation. They can also be used in terms of output sensation. They can also be used in coupling or decoupling of a circuit, all depending the usage of aluminum electrolytic capacitor. It is used in various areas. That is the meaning of in they say electrolytic capacitor and aluminum electrolytic capacitors are used in huge quantities. Which quantities? It means they are used in quantities in various field of electronics gadget. They can also be used in laptop. They can also be used in palm top. They can also be used as well in our handset, both in power section, both in output power section as well. They are very cost effective. They are very effective and able to provide large capacitance per volume than other types of capacitor. They are cost effective and they also have the ability to provide large capacitance per volume than other capacitor. In all capacitors so far that I have seen mostly used mainly in DC, I have meant to understand that electrolytic aluminum electrolytic capacitor they have the almost the largest capacitance so far than tantalum and the bromine capacitor and other areas of electrolytic then capacitor, because this one fall under areas of electrolytic capacitor, those ones that I just mentioned. But from my experience so far, I have meant to understand that from my research, I have meant to understand that the aluminum capacitor it provides a large capacitance than every other electrolytic capacitor. So these are the aluminum capacitor examples. These are the aluminum capacitor examples. This one, you can also see this one in this form. You can also talk about this in this form. You can also see it in other form. They are called actual and actual capacitor and so on and so forth. You know, I have already treated. I've shown you the difference between this and this. Go back to my previous video, then you can also see the difference between the this and also the this one. But these are the examples of aluminum electrolytic capacitor. The same thing apply here. This give them very many uses and as in uses in circuit where high current or low frequency are involved. You know, most times we don't really understand the functions of aluminum electrolytic capacitor. Mainly where they are used are high current, and where they are used are high current and low frequency. They are mainly used in high current and low frequency. And high current is first thing where high current can enter in any electronics circuit or in electronics gadget is in power section. Then from power section, it can move to other circuit aspect of the electronics gadget. In everything that contains an electronic, you must see an aluminum electrolytic capacitor in power section area because it has a very large capacitance which can withstand a volume of high current. And in addition, it also used in frequency where low frequency are demand in any of the circuits. And also, aluminum electrolytic capacitor are typically used most in power applications. Just as I said before, I have already mentioned power application in terms of this. They are basically used in power application, mostly in any kind of power electronics. Let's say, for instance, our pump top, our electronics gadgets, so many of them, even our AC we use in our various offices, they are also being used in all these aluminum electrolytic capacitor are also being used in those electronics circuits or electronics gadgets. Because if any of the electronic gadget being electrolytic capacitor goes spoiled, it means that that particular circuit or gadget will not work effectively. So those are the important and area that you can find the aluminum electrolytic capacitor. Now, in that case, it can also be used as an audio amplifier of all type. It can also be used in audio amplifier of all types, as in hi-fi to mobile phones, which I have just also said it before. It can also be used in audios amplifier of all types, and hi-fi to mobile phones, and in power supplied circuit. So I have already said it before, in mobile phone, in our electronics gadget, you must, is must, not may, is must that you must see aluminum electrolytic capacitor in each of our electronics gadget, either in the power section or in mostly in power section and in audio section, which it the work of it there is to filter what every other component have not done. It just make it smoothly so that once you are getting the sound, or once you're seeing the picture or seeing whatsoever thing that you are supposed to see at the screen, you see it brightly and it will work effectively. Aluminium, the same thing. Basically, there are two types of electrolytic capacitor, aluminum electrolytic capacitors. They are palm foil type and etched foil types. The two, they have different function in motherboard, in electronics gadget. Because if I say motherboard, some of you may not understand. Now, that motherboard is the board that makes up of the circuit, those components. A motherboard is where those components are mounted, where each of the component or every other component, both the passive and active component, are mounted to make up of that electronics gadget that you are using. That one, it is called a motherboard. So in that case, what I'm trying to say is basically there are two types of aluminum electrolytic capacitor, which they are palm foil and etched foil types, and both of them, they are used in various areas of electronics gadget. In that case, palm foil type aluminum electrolytic capacitors are mainly used as smoothing capacitor in power supply circuit. Just as I said, once Once you are using any system, whatever thing that contains electronics circuit, it means that it has a particular name of a capacitor called plan foil types, because the function here is for him to smooth any ripple current or voltage. You know, before it does that, there must be a diode that will convert it from AC to DC. So the work of this um, pan, um, the plan foil types is to smooth it. Once it smooths it, it distributes it to every other component that it connected to it according to their current rating. So in that case, the major work of this one is to smooth it basically, you can see it on power section of electronics. In every electronics gadget, we have the primary side, we also have the secondary side. Sometimes they call it the cool and the hot side. The power side are where the starting, where you can make, for instance, you want to plug your electro and you want to charge your desktop, your laptop, or whatsoever thing. It will, the first place that power will go in, that is where that is where the functions, where you can see the plan foil type, because all it does is to smooth after, when the diode has finished its own work, and it will just smooth the ripple voltages or current that is there, so that it can pass it over to every other component that is connected or connected to it. Then every other active or passive component can also do their jobs as well. So once you have seen it so far, you can also know that yes, this particular capacitor that is here is called LAN 4 type of aluminum electrolytic capacitor. Now, in that case, now why edge foil types capacitors used in coupling? Coupling DC. DC is coupling direct current. This one is used in coupling direct current. Where I will show you much more about this DC coupling is when I will be teaching you, showing you the practical aspect of it. Then you will see how it couples. One of the leg will be at the primary side, one of the leg will be at the secondary side. So it couples the extension from A to B. It means it carries current or voltage from left to right or from right to left. And also pass by circuit, just what I have already explained. The same electrolytic aluminum capacitor cover the capacitance range of 1 microfarad. I have already explained this microfarad, from 1 microfarad to 47,000 microfarads, and the tolerance of it is 20%. The tolerance of this electrolytic and this aluminum electrolytic capacitor is 20%. Definitely, this tolerance that you are seeing here, we will also discuss deeply on tolerance. It has its own separate topic to be treated effectively and appropriately as well. So in that case, it started from 1 and it covered up to 47,000 microfarad, and the tolerance is 20% of it. The working voltage ratings range up to 500 volts. Mostly, I want you to remember that in aluminum electrolytic capacitor is mainly used in DC, not in AC, because there are capacitors that you can use in AC and DC. But this particular one is mainly used in DC. You can never use it in AC. So in that case, the working voltage range, the working voltage ratings range up to 500 volts. You can also see it in 15 and every other voltage so far, but the working there as in the maximum voltage rate is 500 volts. The capacitance value and the voltage rating are either printed in microfarads or encoded or coded by a letter followed by 3-letter digit, which can be also be treated in terms of the coded letter. I will also take it on a specific topic, on a special topic, and I will discuss it appropriately and adequately. I will explain it more better in terms of code by a letter, and I will also do the calculation aspect of it once I get to this area. So that is just how it is. What I want you to understand here basically is the maximum, the working voltage rating range is up to 500 volts, and the capacitance value and the voltage ratings are either printed on a body where you can see and know exactly what you are working for or working at. These are three digits represent the capacitance value in picofarad, where first two digits first two digits represent the numbers, and the third one is the multiplication. Definitely, I will educate you on this. I will do the multiplication, and you will understand what I am saying. But this is just an introduction of the code aspect of capacitor. Thank you once again for watching my video. Please, if you like my video, subscribe to my channel. See you next week. Thank you.